Hi friends, welcome back to another pick a card reading. I just wanted to say a quick thank you. The last video that I released for like going into the month of May did so well. You guys really ate it up and I was not expecting that. But you guys really like to get roasted by the cards, I guess. So we're kind of keeping with that theme, and we're gonna be looking at your chaotic energy coming in for the month of June, and sort of see how that's gonna play out going forward, because we do have a Mercury retrograde. It's already, the effects are already starting. So yeah, I wanted to see, because from like everything that I've read and heard and felt, there's a lot of like chaotic energy coming in and a lot of changes. So I wanted to see sort of how that is going to affect you going forward. So we do have 3 piles. We have pile 1 with this amethyst cluster, pile 2 with this orange citrine, and pile 3 with this angel light. So feel free to pause the video if you need more time to decide which pile is resonating most with you. If you already know, feel free to scroll down to the description box below and there will be timestamps with your reading, and I will see you there. Hello, if you picked pile 1 with the amethyst cluster, oh my goodness, words are just not working for me today. This is your reading. So we're actually going to start with the Astrological Oracle, because I want to get just a general idea of like the energy that you're bringing in here. So we're gonna shuffle those and see maybe the areas of life that your chaotic energy is influencing or coming from. I don't know why, but I'm smelling cilantro. That's very odd. What? I also have your cards. So we're gonna put those there. But I just wanna quickly look up cilantro. Protection, healing, good health, longevity, clairvoyance, divination, fertility, prosperity, keeping secrets, passion, and retention. So either that, or somebody watching this is having like a taco bowl or something. I don't know. That was my first thought. But it's almost lunchtime at the time that I'm filming this. Anyways, okay, so the areas of your life that might be affected could be whatever house your Venus is in. If you want to do the extra work and look at your birth chart, you can look at where Venus is or where Sagittarius lands, like what house it rules. If you don't want to do the work, that's totally fine. I understand. This is a YouTube video. You're probably watching to like chill, you know? So Venus, this could be in relation to your partnerships, your lovers, your like emphasis of self-love, aesthetics, beauty in general, that kind of stuff. Sagittarius is more of the learner. So this might mean in terms of like education or philosophy. There's a bit of chaos there. Things are changing. Your love life might be a little bit chaotic as we go into June. I don't think it's anything to worry about. Yeah, I think with these two, like, there's definitely you're going in and you're bringing an adventurous spirit. But I think also there might be some, there might be more of a leaning towards being free. So in relationship stuff, not saying that you're like not free in a relationship, but like, you know, there might be some pressures when it comes to like what a relationship is looking like. You might become restless, or become distracted. But yeah, when it comes to Venus, this is definitely about like any matters of the heart are going to be a bit chaotic, and this could include friends as well. So, but yeah, if you're willing to go the extra mile and look at where these land in your chart, feel free, and you might be able to get a better idea of like the energy that you're gonna encounter in the month of June. But in terms of the combination of these two, you've got like a planet or like a goddess and a zodiac sign. So I think even though you have a lot of chaotic energy when it comes to things that you love, it's important to continue to follow that because you really don't know where it's going to lead. And it could very well end up quite positively and be like, I get like yes man vibes. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think you're definitely gonna garner a lot of stories in this period because of the chaos that you bring to the things that you love and like your pursuit of the things that you love. And sort of the ups and downs of it. So we're gonna pull some tarot cards. Okay. And then we're gonna bounce back to the Oracle. Oh my goodness, I cannot shovel to save my life today. Thank you. Okay, we've got two cards. 1, 2. Okay. I'll take this guy. 3. 4. And 5. Okay, so we've got pretty good balance in terms of the different suits. Is that what you call them in tarot? I know it's what you call them in like card games, but anywho. So right off the bat, I'm seeing abundance in terms of like the Pentacles cards jumping out at me, but there is like this overwhelm with the case of abundance, especially with the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. And I think as much as you're like chaotic in your pursuit of the things that you love, you're gonna start realizing that with this chaos, with this like yes man attitude, you're gonna get a lot. You're gonna see how easy it is to like attract things that align with you. And you're gonna see how much actually does align with you, and you're like, wait, I want to try this and I want to do that, and oh, I love this, and like, oh, this person's interesting, and blah 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 blah. And you're gonna become pretty overwhelmed, and because of your chaos, it's going to be a bit harder, but definitely necessary to like ground yourself and bring yourself back into a routine, because when you get too into this like chaotic state and like so many good things start happening because you're being chaotic, and like you're being chaotic in this pursuit, and it's like exciting and there's always something new, you're putting yourself out there a lot, but yeah, you kind of lose yourself in the fun of it all, and you lose your trajectory. So even though you're taking on a lot of things, you're pursuing things that you love, which is great, you're not finding something to like set your sights on and pursue. So you become like really, your goals and aspirations kind of drown out in the abundance that comes, and that's like the downside of all these things coming to you, is that it distracts you from your end goal. And like, your end goal is totally achievable. I think you're going through this period of chaos because you're meant to see all the things you can accomplish just by like saying yes, or like putting your mind to it, following the things that you're passionate about and that you love. You're meant to like see this is like a teachable moment, TM, but you're meant to come out of it in a way that you can then readily apply yourself to the goals that you have set for yourself. So I think ultimately, like, this is a necessary moment for you. This is like a turning point. And with the Six of Swords at the beginning here, it kind of signals that rite of passage, like you breaking through into new waters. So, and I think you're carrying with you up until this point a lot of maybe self-doubt, or just like not necessarily imposter syndrome, but just like feeling like your goals are too high, and there's a lot of like negative thoughts going through your head, I think, where it's just like, oh, I'm like, I can't accomplish this, or like maybe someone told you you can't and you held on to that, and it's kind of become like this heavy weight on you. And because you're going through this period of chaos and just allowing yourself to do things for the sake of doing things, and like for the sake of your own enjoyment, and you're seeing all the good that comes from it, you're like, oh my gosh, like I don't need to carry those thoughts anymore. So you're releasing that, you're letting it go. But yeah, you definitely do need to like rein yourself in and ground yourself and remember like where you want to go, because like you're taking on a lot of skills because you're like opening yourself to this kind of abundance. But yeah, I think the more you let yourself go into it, the more yes person you become. You're gonna learn a lot, but you have to be aware of how much time and money you're spending on things because you're saying yes to so much, because like you're gonna run out of time to spare. You're gonna run out of time that you have for yourself, and that's gonna be overwhelming and really like burn out your energy. And I don't want you to be like in a bad financial spot on top of that. So that's where the Knight of Pentacles comes in, where he's like, hey, like we gotta remember to keep our balance and play things smart, especially when it comes to like finances or like things in the material world. You don't want to go too overboard. You want to like make sure your ducks are still in a row and you're on your path still. So we've got the 5 of Cups in reverse. For some reason I kept seeing that as a 3. It was really messing with my head. Anyways, so yeah, I think sort of going along with this whole idea of you going in with this mindset that like sort of that lack mindset, not feeling like you have enough, or just like carrying things from the past, like negative self-talk from the past that doesn't serve you. And you're stepping into your chaotic energy. You're saying yes to everything. I think once you start seeing the positives that come of it, there's going to be moments where you're like, oh shoot, like I was the one holding me back. And what I want you to take from this is that you're not wasting time to blame yourself on things, because you've already made the change, you've already grown from it. There's no need in like carrying that weight and going over it again. This is the time to like forgive yourself for the times that you held yourself back, because who's to say like you weren't holding yourself back for good reason in your own mind. Like, I don't know, some people hold themselves back because it's like a survivalist thing, you know, like they're just not in a place where they can be that yes person without really bad consequence. Like, that's understandable, and it's okay to forgive yourself and like let go of the person who couldn't fathom going for it, you know? It's okay. And then to finish off the row for tarot, and then like I said, we're gonna pull out some more oracle cards. We have the 3 of Wands in reverse. So this is kind of going back to the Knight of Pentacles idea, where like you gotta make some structure, you know? You've got to plan ahead a little bit. Like, it's all fun and games to say, yes, like, I'm gonna do this and that, and take it all on. But then when you get to a certain point, you're like, oh my gosh, like, I shouldn't have spent this much time or this much money on this, and now, like, oh, I can't pay for this, and blah, 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 blah. So, plan ahead and make decisions on, like, what makes sense, I guess, to say yes to and like jump in for. Like, bring that chaotic energy, but plan accordingly and like make sure that your bases are kind of covered. If you don't play it smart ahead of time, like, it's not going to be the end of the world, but you're definitely going to have delays in getting the things that you want, especially if you have a trajectory that you were planning on beforehand and you've kind of said yes to all these things, and it's taken up space and kind of push your, I don't want to say timeline, but sort of like it's pushed the plan farther into the future just because you need to get your bearings again. So make sure that you take the time to make sure that the things that you're saying yes to aren't gonna cause issue to your overall plan to get wherever you want to go in life. All I'm saying. Okay, so we're gonna pull some Work Your Light Oracle, and then I'll grab a Calm Club Oracle for you as well, and I think we'll wrap up after that. So, oh, that was so fast. Got a few cards. Leap, the universe will catch you. And Starseed, what lights you up? So, yeah. I feel like this is kind of reiterating what we've talked about in the tarot cards so far. So, with Leap, you go first, the universe will catch you. This is like the yes person attitude. And like I said, it's totally great that you can like throw yourself into stuff and like bring that chaotic energy towards the things that you love. And I guess that goes hand in hand with what lights you up, like the Venus energy that we saw at the very beginning, and like that drive to go after the things that you love. But yeah, like putting yourself in there, or out there rather, is great. But just make sure that you have a plan. So like you say yes to something and you see how easy it comes to you and you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so that's the first step in like letting go of this kind of emotional baggage of believing that you can't do something, you can't accomplish something. So this energy that you're going into, this chaotic energy of like so many things happening at once and needing to figure out how to order them into your life, this is part of your journey. So for the Calm Club Oracle, we'll grab one of these, and oh cute, we've got the butterfly. I really like the aesthetic of this layout. It looks very beautiful. So for the butterfly, it asks, do you appreciate the beauty of your surroundings? So again, we're going back to the Venus card and beauty in the world around you. Is your path as spontaneous as the butterflies? So yeah, that yes person mentality, we're really coming back to that. Like everything's kind of looping together with this reading. It's very, very clear. So yeah, is your path spontaneous? Are you saying yes to things? Are you putting yourself out there? Do you feel the need to spread your wings? And I think this also goes with that Sagittarius energy of you wanting to take in new experiences, to learn new things, to expand your own philosophies and theories, that kind of thing. Are you going through a transformation? I mean, it kind of seems like it. Letting go of baggage, moving into this new, albeit chaotic energy, making a plan for the future. And is it time to break out of your cocoon? So I see this cocoon as sort of that energy of the things that were once holding you back. And ultimately it's up to you whether or not you act on it. I don't know how much fate comes into play with this layout for you, but that is what I'm seeing for you, Group 1. I hope this gave you a little bit of insight, gave you a little bit of information to prep as you go forward into the next month. And I will see you next time. Bye! Hello, Group 2. If you picked the orange calcite, then this is your reading on what chaotic energy you embody and how that's going to affect your life in the month of June. So we're actually going to start with the Astrological Oracle cards, because that'll give us a pretty clear idea of your, like, where your chaotic energy is coming from, or just like what area of your life it's going to affect the most. So we've got Saturnus and Thank you. Venus. So a couple for Venus. So a lot of this I feel is playing into the things that we love. Our like natural worlds, beauty, that kind of stuff. So if you want to look at your birth chart, I know this is a few extra steps, so don't feel the need to do it, but if you're curious, you can look in your birth chart where Saturn lies and where Venus lies, and these might be good indications of where you're gonna have a little chaos in the month of March, or not March, oh my gosh, in the month of June. Whoa, my brain needs to catch up. So for Saturn, I think like you're gonna have chaos in terms of breaking out of the boxes and the things that had once held you down. Limitations and stuff is basically what I'm getting at. You're gonna be a little bit chaotic in terms of the limitations that other people have set for you, or maybe you've set for yourself, and you're like, I'm breaking free. Q, Queen, I want to break free. Anyways, I can't play it because I would probably get a copyright strike. But yeah, so Venus is all about your connections with others, romantic or otherwise, the relationship that you have, care and love, beauty, that kind of stuff. But yeah, with Saturn, with Saturnus's energy, you're really looking at where restriction is coming in, and you may be chaotic in terms of like the restrictions you set for yourself at this time, especially when it comes to your relationships with others, which is really interesting. I think for some of you, you're afraid and like having like a chaotic moment when it comes to aging. So you might be getting older in this period, you might be having a birthday and you're like, holy shit. Yeah, you're kind of like, oh my gosh, like I'm moving out of this one stage of my life and into the next, or like you might notice changes about yourself, whether it be like physical changes or changes to your personality, that kind of stuff. But I want you to remember that even though there may be changes, some good, some bad, like the core of who you are and like your good intentions, your love for others, it is constant. Yeah, you're going to continue to like be this chaotic loving source for people, and they're going to see that whether you fully express it to them or not. I think just like your energy is so abundant. Yeah, if you are having a birthday this year, I want to say happy birthday. Or oh my god, that was so dumb. If you're having a birthday this month, happy birthday. I tell you, Mercury retrograde is absolutely doing something to me. But we're gonna get into your tarot cards and see what's up. Sort of get more of an idea of what's going on with you. Thank you. Another one. We've got some wands coming out. Oh my goodness. Okay. Jeez. Okay. Dang. What is going on here? So, okay. got a few major arcana as well. So the Page of Wands, this is kind of going along with that idea of like restriction and you being chaotic against them, because the Page of Wands is really like challenging those ideas of limitation, and you're saying like, again, I'm breaking free. Yeah, you're breaking past them. You're kind of realizing that like no matter how old you are, you still have like a really free spirit. Like you have the ability to go beyond what the expectations you set for yourself were, and like break through and still have this like really like exciting, chaotic, jovial energy, which I think like is really positive. Other people pick up on it. And I think also tying into that idea of limitation, like with the Nine of Wands, you have a better idea of like what boundaries look like and which ones to cross and which ones not to. And you've been through a lot. Like I'm getting the sense that you are mature, if you picked this pile. And I don't just mean that in terms of like age, though it could be, but I think you have like a lot of wisdom in your years. You might be an old soul, and yeah, you've had to go through a lot, and I think it might not be something that a lot of people pick up on about you just because of the energy that you bring, but your resiliency breaks through because you like consistently look at the limitations and boundaries that have been set for you, the boxes that you're expected to kind of fit in, and you bring this like love for the challenge of breaking out of those boxes and like really harnessing your own power. And I think it takes a lot of courage to do that, to like to test your own strength in these challenges, to like, yeah, to break free of the expectations of others, because I know it can be really, really hard, especially if there isn't really like a model to follow, but you're like setting that example for other people. And I think like while it may appear chaotic to some, this is just like how you were made, you know? I do think that in the month of June, you might be holding back, you might be delaying something. With the Hanged Man in reverse, this really gives me the energy of like, it's like a reconsidering, and you're reevaluating, taking your time to look over the things that you've challenged in the past and wondering whether or not they apply to you now. And that's totally okay. I think like there might be some pride tied in on whether or not you like make any changes to how you've worked on yourself over the last however many years. And yeah, there's a bit of pride being like, oh, maybe I was wrong, but I don't think you were. I think it was just like you did what was right for you at the time, and now this is what applies to you, so it doesn't matter what someone else may think, if they're like, if they were kind of if they struggled with your decision to like go against a social construct or something like that, but now you're finding that it makes more sense for you personally to like incorporate that construct into your life because blank blank blank. I'm not really sure like what specifically it is, but there is definitely something that you have to reevaluate reintegrating. And it brings up feelings of like pride or like this feeling of maybe I was wrong kind of thing, and not wanting to admit that. And I honestly don't think you have to admit that, because I don't think you were wrong at the time that you made your initial decision, but things have shifted, things have changed now. So I think this is just like those inner feelings increased tenfold with the Two of Swords in reverse. Like you're kind of reaching this point of like not wanting to change. Like there's this desire to grow and like become the new version of yourself, but at the same time that like in your mind right now it might mean creating limitations for yourself, creating like making decisions to go back on things that you felt you were liberating yourself from previously. And it's not a bad thing to make these changes. It just feels like a bad thing right now because it feels like you're going against something your previous, like the previous version of yourself did. But that's like, that version of yourself got you to where you are now, and it's totally okay for you to shift and change and like take on these things with different meaning because you have different life experience. So I don't like, definitely don't beat yourself up over it. We do have the Death card in reverse, so this just drives the point home that like there is a big resistance to change, and I think that, I keep saying it, is coming from kind of a place of pride, and like you have challenged limitations. You've been like consistent in your challenging of limitations and boundaries and stuff for yourself, but now you're going through this kind of transformation, this inner transformation where you're like, oh my gosh, like I made such a big deal about not following this expectation or whatever, and now like I need to implement this expectation for myself because it's like it makes sense for me now. And that's still your decision. No one is forcing that on you. In fact, you even showed that you don't have to follow that, and you still got to like where you are now. And just because you choose to follow that expectation or whatever it may be, like it's still your choice. This is still a very powerful move, so don't let pride get in the way of it, because I think in order to move forward, you're still gonna have to sort of confront this part of yourself. So we're gonna pull a couple Work Your Light Oracle and one Calm Club Oracle. Oh my god, that was so fast. Thank you. Trust the niggle. What is the niggling feeling trying to tell you? So I personally have never really heard this word, but I think it's like intention, or not intention. Oh my gosh. It's like that feeling of knowing. Why am I blanking on the word? Intuition. Oh my gosh. So trust your intuition. What is your intuition trying to tell you? So I think like that might be why there's so much indecision right now. It's because you have this one idea of sort of like how you think you're supposed to be, and then it's just like not working for you. So but there's like this feeling in your chest or your stomach or wherever intuition shows up for you, and it's being like, well, maybe try this, but you don't necessarily want to. So trust that little tiny whisper sometimes, and trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? So are you holding back because you think you're going to be challenged on something instead of supported in your choice to do so? So we're gonna finish up with a calm card, calm club card, and it'll ask some important questions that I will leave you with to think about. Maybe? There we go. The wings. Oh, so for the wings, it asks, can you spread your wings or have they been clipped? Keep in mind, you may be the one clipping your own wings. Have you got the room for your dreams to soar? So again, those limitations. What limitations are you placing on yourself? What are outside limitations that you've placed? And have you created limitations for yourself based on the limitations and boundaries you think that have been placed on you? Could your ideas take flight in a positive way? Who are you protecting under your wing? That also might relate to like a past version of yourself. You don't want to like upset the past version, or there might be this idea that like you work so hard to get to where you are now that somehow this decision to like change something up that you had already made a decision on in your past is somehow like dishonorable to that version of yourself. And it doesn't have to be. And do you need to fly the nest? So is there something that you need to leave behind that had offered you safety at one point in your life? So all things to consider. But that is all that I have for you, my group twos. I hope this brought a little bit of insight going forward into the month of June. And I will see you next time. Bye! Hello, my group three. If you picked the Angel Light, this is your reading. So we're actually going to start with the Astrological Oracle and just get a vibe on sort of the chaotic energy that you're bringing in to the next month, and what area of your life it might take its toll, or you know, bring some kind of success or something like that. You never know with chaotic energy. So got Neptunus, and I've said it with the other groups as well. If you want to take this reading a step farther, you can look at your birth chart as well and see where like Neptune, for example, lies, which house it's in, and or even the I guess, yeah, which house it's in, or just like what that planet occupies. Another thing that I've noticed in these readings is Mercury retrograde has made it nearly impossible for me to speak properly, so sorry. But yeah. Ooh, there we go. Sweet. So we have Neptunus and Leo, so feel free to look where those land in your chart, or if you want to look at your sun sign, even where that is, because Leo is ruled by the sun. So you have a lot of confident chaoticness, but it's coming from like this deep well of emotion. I think what I'm getting from this is like you're entering this era where it's like almost a hyper confidence. Like you have to go to the extreme with your confidence and really play into it. Be like, cultivate the confident attitude kind of thing. Like it's coming from an inner place. Oh my goodness. Sorry if you can hear my stomach growling. Yeah, it's coming from an inner place, especially with Neptunus signifying like the depth of this. So I do think like at your core you may be a very confident person. But I think over time this has been like kind of drowned out by other things. Maybe you've been in like survival mode for a while. But this is the time that you're kind of breaking out of that and embracing this confidence, this like healthy vanity even. And you might be going to this extreme like because you're embracing the chaotic nature of it. But I think ultimately you're just like allowing yourself to push the boundaries of being yourself and make sure you're in that like safe space again. And I think that's fabulous. Like you might get some side eyes of people who might just not be on that same level right now. And that's okay. Like this is your journey right now. And, yeah, I say embrace it. Like, I think confidence attracts a lot of good. It can attract some bad, but I think overall, like, if you go into things knowing your worth, you value your time more and like you prioritize things that are important to you and you're better at setting boundaries, that kind of thing. So it may appear like chaotic to someone who knows you a certain way, but I think you're really embracing this confidence, and it's something that you can be proud of. Like you're recognizing your skills that maybe you've watered down. So we're gonna pull some tarot cards and investigate this a little further. Okay, interesting. Whoa. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. Ooh-wee. So there's some stuff going on, and I think this, like what I was saying about your confidence and stuff, I think some of it, if there's any hesitation, it's coming from a place where like that confidence or like that certainty of yourself was kind of belittled maybe from like a previous time, from others maybe saying that you were too much, or maybe even you getting in your head being like, oh, I'm a bit overboard with certain things or whatever. Like there's something that has affected you in the past that has kind of, it brought you to the point where you watered yourself down, or like tried to change certain things about yourself to make other people feel more comfortable. And I think this leaves a little bit of a bruise on your like spiritual self. And now you're kind of walking into this stage of like embracing who you are. And you're coming forward with compassion, especially with the Queen of Cups here. Like you are healing these parts of yourself. You're offering a lot back to yourself. And I think the time that you once sort of dedicated to other people, like maybe you fell into people-pleasing tendencies, and you never really gave yourself the time. Like, you are reordering things and making sure that you are quite literally doing yourself justice and like being compassionate, especially when it comes to healing parts of like your childhood and stuff. With the Six of Cups in reverse, this indicates like a lot having to do with childhood and maybe some memories that you've held on to and like run through your head multiple times, and this could have created a lot of issues in terms of like how you express yourself. And I think you felt a little bit caged, maybe repressed. You were holding back, basically. You were taking in like so much input and you weren't really sure what to do with it. You weren't really sure like what the expectations were, like if you do this you're too much of this, or like if you don't do that you're not enough, blah 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 blah. There's like all these expectations and you're like, where is the happy medium? Like, where am I supposed to land? And you're kind of coming out of that and realizing like there is no way, like you don't have to land, you know? You can keep on soaring, going up to the sky, up to the stars. But I think you are like offering yourself a little bit of like how do I phrase this? Like, I keep seeing the Justice card and like this is like the natural balance coming back, basically. Like if you think of the scales, which I think are quite literally in this picture, you're finding that balance for your inner self. And I think that's where the chaoticness of your confidence in your self-expression is coming out. You have to like really lean into it in order to kind of gradually find that balance. Like you have to see how much weight it carries and sort of work on healing the parts of yourself that thought that wasn't part of you, or like it needed to be hidden. But you're coming into your own truth, realizing that if you like keep pushing things about yourself down, like they don't go away. You're just kind of, like I said earlier, bruising your like spiritual self. So now you're seeing the effects of that and how it's kind of like impacted you and the life that you want to live, and you're like, no, I don't want this for myself anymore. And now you're like ready to offer yourself that care and compassion and that like healing energy. You're coming into a place, even though like I said, externally it's gonna seem like really chaotic, I think you're actually like more in touch with your emotional, spiritual self. And I think by doing that you're gonna have a lot more to offer. But sorry about that. Oh my gosh, sorry about that. Just so much chaotic energy right now. Oh boy. My camera ran out of minutes, so we're back. But basically what I was saying is I think you are more
emotionally stable in a way that like you understand yourself a lot better and you understand your limitations and you don't allow people to kind of like overstep anymore. But yeah, with the Six of Swords reversed, I do think that this is a moment of truth for you. And especially with justice as well, like you are realizing who you are. You're coming into this new stage of your life, and it is like you're getting to know yourself on a new level. You're getting to know yourself, like a different version of yourself. And it can be a lot. There might be some resistance because like maybe there's certain things that came easily to you when you were like leaning into the expectations of others. But yeah, I do think there's a lot of things to go back to in terms of healing the parts of yourself that leaned too far into those expectations and kind of cross your own boundaries. With the Six of Cups, I know I mentioned this earlier, there is like this relationship that you've kind of developed with your past self, and I think there might be some hard feelings maybe about how you suppressed who you were over time. So let this card be sort of a signal to like release that and allow yourself to heal that relationship, because otherwise like you're gonna kind of keep carrying the weight and keep having this like indecisive kind of feeling, this imbalance, which we see with Temperance reversed. And I think sort of going through this and like healing those parts of yourself are going to allow you to just have like a better relationship with yourself and realign altogether. So we're gonna grab some Work Your Light Oracle, and then afterwards we'll finish off with the Calm Club Oracle, which will ask you some questions, and I'll leave you with those to just kind of think about. Okay. So we have play, have fun, celebrate, don't be so serious, and Akasha, your guidance is divinely guided. So I think with these cards, the play really, like for me, makes sense to connect with your inner child and like the parts of yourself that kind of stayed on the down low, even though you wanted to like express yourself fully, especially with this Leo energy. So now's the time again to like heal that part of yourself, and I think allowing yourself to be playful and like exuberant is a word that came to mind. Just be like really bubbly and outgoing and like your full actual self. Just enjoying life for the sake of enjoying life, because I think like with the expectations that you may have set for yourself or you felt from society and that kind of thing, you didn't really get to have the full gamut of enjoyment for your childhood. And I think there is a loss to that, but you can heal that by finding things now that sort of ignite that inner child. And then with Akasha, we have your guidance is divinely guided, which I think really connects with this idea that this is sort of like a rite of passage moment. You coming into your own and like recognizing who you are at this stage in your life, and I guess who you were previously and just like never got to express. This is your time. This is your moment. I'm sure if you're a Leo, you would love to hear that. So we're gonna finish off with a Calm Club Oracle. And hi, Group 3. I am so sorry that this is literally just a picture, but as per Mercury retrograde rules, my camera malfunctioned. So it cut off the last part of your reading, but I wanted to give you a visual of the card that was pulled before I realized my camera shut off, and just give you an outline of the questions that it poses. So you got the skull card to end your reading. So exploring the skull, it asks, could there be areas of your life drawing to an end? Can you lay to rest the negativity in your thoughts? Have you recently resurrected an old friendship? Now, I do want to say that an old friendship doesn't necessarily have to be a friendship with someone outside of yourself, but it could be your relationship to a previous version of yourself as well. How can you best protect your assets? And I think this relates a lot to what we were discussing in terms of like the time that you put more value into now, like your own time has a lot more value the more confident you are in yourself and your abilities and stuff. And lastly, are you aware of your mortality? And I know this seems like a really big question to end a reading off with, but I think you've already kind of gone through certain like deaths or releases of previous versions of yourself. So I think there is an awareness, and you're just at this point where you're kind of confronting that you are constantly, you're like a plant. This is a weird way to put it, but you're like a plant, and through seasons, like you bloom and you lose your flowers and stuff like that, and it's all about cycles. So this is just another cycle, and that's kind of what the question of morality for this card is posing to you, Group 3. So that wraps up your reading. Again, so sorry that I'm having so many technical difficulties and stuff with this video, but I'm glad we could put it all together, and hopefully this gave you a little bit of insight as you go into your month of June. Take care, and I will see you next month. Bye!